At Sabratha, still today, after 2,000 years, the marble in the ancient Roman theatre glitters under the lukewarm sun of the Libyan autumn. The bas reliefs hand down the testimony to ancient work and trade in which the sea was the leading player. The sea opposite the ancient town of Sabratha is also witness to one of the most fascinating challenges that Saipem has ever faced offshore. A challenge that led to the construction of one of the largest Mediterranean offshore platforms and the establishment of a new world record for offshore lifting, 12,100 tons. For the design of the platform, Saipem put together a task force of about 200 engineers that worked for over a year.
Sì, sono bocchelli per un livello visivo. Sì. Non sappiamo ancora le dimensioni di questo livello, però sicuramente avremo problemi di interferenza con la linea d'ingresso. Sì. No? Quindi pensavo di cambiare l'orientamento di questi due bocchelli.
Allora ragazzi, avete risolto il problema qua?
Sì.
Cosa pensate di fare?
Di cambiare l'orientamento dei bocchelli per evitare poi nella costruzione di avere problemi di interferenza.
Avete valutato se ci sono impatti con i fornitori e riusciamo a comunicargli l'informazione in tempo?
Sì, non abbiamo ancora ricevuto i datasheet dal fornitore dei filtri, quindi appena ce li darà glieli commenteremo con l'orientamento giusto.
Perfetto, quindi possiamo andare avanti così, molto bene.
The basic design of the Sabratha platform was supplied directly by the customer. Saipem verified the suitability of this basic design and endorsed it. Following that, it developed the detailed design and procured the project materials with the support of the consortium partner Hyundai Heavy Industry, HHI. The construction of the large integrated production deck took place at Ulsan in Korea. The Intermare Sarda yard, fully owned by Saipem on the east coast of Sardinia, has been chosen to build the jacket. This jacket, with its weight of approximately 24,000 tons and length of 207 meters, can be ranked among the biggest offshore substructures ever constructed and installed in the world. In order to accommodate such an exceptional structure, the yard has to be reorganized in terms of both space and project and working manpower. An additional construction challenge was created by the extraordinary thickness of the tubulars, which reached 120 millimeters, and the fact that almost 90% of the nodes had to be thermally treated. By the end of the project, more than 1 million man-hours have been spent in Arbatax alone, whilst an additional 600,000 man-hours were necessary for all the prefabrication work subcontracted outside Arbatax. Within the ambit of the Bar Essalam project, two pipelines, 36 and 10 inches, of over 110 kilometers, were laid from the offshore platform to the Melita coast in Libya for the transport of gas and condensate. The barge Crawler did the shore approach works. In-field sea lines were also installed to transport the production fluid from two subsea production manifolds to the platform. All these pipes were laid by the Castoro Sei vessel. Right from the beginning, the jacket fabrication plan was organized in order to split the entire structure into several sub-elements, such as nodes, pile clusters, and mud mats, and the buoyancy tanks. All these elements have been prefabricated in various selected and qualified subcontractors' yards and workshops throughout Europe. Saipem and Intermare Sarda made a tremendous organizational and logistical effort in order to ensure that all the sub-elements were delivered on time and with the quality required by the very stringent project specifications. All the elements making up the structure were then assembled into 15 major assemblies called work packs, ranging from 1,000 to 2,600 tons. This concept of splitting the whole structure into work packs was made possible by the availability of the 1,000-ton tower crane in Arbatax and of a fleet of self-propelled trailers with capacities ranging from 100 to 600 tons. Furthermore, this method allowed a very high degree of flexibility in the planning of such a massive job and, when necessary, also allowed some margin of delay through very accurate planning control. At the same time, another company, the Rossetti Marino subcontractor, started constructing the 1,700-ton, 117-bed accommodation module in its yard in Ravenna, together with the prefabrication and assembly of 16 piles for the jacket. The construction of the living quarters was achieved through the on-land construction of every single level and a successive installation for individual floors. The Rossetti Marino yard also paid host to the construction of 2 PSMs, protective structure manifolds. The management and organization of the 2 PSM project was the fruit of the cooperation between Cameron Limited, Doris Engineering and Saipem SA. The 2 PSMs are destined for 2 different areas of the Bar Esalam oil field. The gas and condensate extracted from their subsea wells will be sent through the sea lines to the Sabratha platform and then, after processing, towards the Libyan coast and the Melita installation. The last 6 months of the project in Sardinia were the most critical ones. Almost all the large work packs have been rotated and assembled. 13 of them have been rolled up and erected with the sole use of the yard cranes. But for the last 2 heaviest work packs, incorporating the clusters and the mud mats, and with a total weight of 2,600 tons, an auxiliary lifting capacity was needed, and a very accurate lifting analysis was performed to ensure a safe and clean operation. Special strand jacks were used, fitted to the structures in order to properly balance and counterweight the mass of the lifted elements. In Ravenna, the fabrication of the accommodation module and the 10,000 tons of piles was progressing and reaching its completion stages. One of the peculiarities of this jacket design is the use of 2 large buoyancy tanks weighing 1,100 tons each to allow a self-upending action during the offshore launching operation. The installation of these 2 buoyancy tanks was the final heavy lifting operation in the yard before loadout. The very last critical operation for such a demanding project was the loadout of the jacket structure onto the Saipem 44 launching barge. All the operations were very carefully studied and analyzed in advance, and the result was a very easy and smooth operation. For Intermare Sarda, the whole project required a significant leap forward in method, technology and organization. Special attention was dedicated to the workers' health and safety in order to maintain and even improve the usually very high standards of yard safety. Finally, in September 2004, and in accordance with the offshore installation plan, the Sabratha jacket was ready for sail away. The harbour exit operation required an extensive deployment of tugs, together with a detailed planning sequence for all the various steps of barge rotation and towing inside the harbour area. Once the barge left the port, the tugs used for manoeuvring inside the harbour were replaced by more powerful ocean-going tugs to tow the jacket to its final destination in Libya. The sail away of the Sabratha jacket was watched by very many people from the towns near the Intermare Sarda yard. In October 2004, the accommodation module was ready for sail away. The living quarters module, consisting of 5 floors and a helideck, is over 25 meters high, weighs 1,700 tons, and was loaded onto the transportation barge using special trailers. At dawn on the 1st of October 2004, the Sabratha jacket is ready for the most emotional operation, its sea launch. Preparation for this operation began the night before with the cutting of the sea fastenings on the S-44 cargo barge. After its inclination up to an angle of 3 degrees by means of a ballasting operation combined with a push-puller action, the jacket takes to the sea. The operation is closely followed by all the crew of the Saipem 7000. The Sabratha jacket was designed to be self-uprighting. After the launch, it reaches the vertical on its own. After having connected it to the crane, the Saipem 7000 then transported it to its final installation site to be positioned by means of a docking operation on the previously installed template. To supplement the Bar Essalam project, the Saipem 7000 also installed the 2 interception valves. The valves, totally controlled from the platform, are positioned in order to control both the gas flow towards the platform, gathering, and that towards the Melita station, export. The cargo barge Castoro 11 transported the piles from Ravenna. The piles are 147 meters long, with a diameter of 96 inches and a weight of over 600 tons each. Due to their length, they had to be lifted directly from the cargo barge with the help of the Saipem 7000's 2 cranes. The combined action of the 2 cranes, working in tandem, required the use of 2 clamps, one internal and one external, the first at the top, the second at 2/3 of its length. When it is fully vertical, the external clamp, the lower one, is detached, while the upper one holds the tube until the Saipem 7000 approaches the jacket. The pile is inserted into the sleeve and allowed to penetrate in a controlled manner under its own weight. With the help of the MHU 3000 hammer, the pile driving phase begins. During this phase, the level of the jacket is constantly kept under control. The installation of the 16 piles required particular attention. The pile grouting ends the fixing phase. Taking advantage of a good weather forecast, on the evening of the 30th of October 2004, the Saipem 7000 achieved another important success. The combined action of the 2 cranes enabled the lifting and installation of the 12,100-ton deck module. With this lift, a new world record for offshore lifting was achieved. The deck module had arrived from Korea with a self-propelled vessel. It was designed and built with constant attention being paid to the weights. The weight of the production deck was so close to the maximum lifting capacity of the Saipem 7000 that a weight-shedding operation was designed to take place before sail away. In other words, additional small equipment modules were engineered and removed from the integrated deck to avoid excess weight. A special team was sent onto the jacket to oversee the final phases of deck stabbing. The operation ended at dawn's first light. The Saipem 7000 later installed the small additional modules foreseen by the weight-shedding plan. Subsequently, the living quarters were installed on the deck. The operation required particular attention regarding the conditions of the sea. The correct positioning of the living quarters took place thanks to the special pin and bucket guides. The area around the Sabratha platform also generated a great deal of diving activity. In particular, Sonsub made an important contribution, installing 48 spools and 75 flange connectors linking the PSM and the platform. Bar Protector, Polar Prince, Normand Cutter, and many other vessels worked in the Sabratha area. The Sabratha platform flare is approximately 150 meters long and weighs about 700 tons. Transported from La Spezia by the cargo barge Castoro 9, and notwithstanding the relatively light weight, it still required the combined use of Saipem 7000's two powerful cranes. The verticalization operation was one of the last exciting phases of the Sabratha platform's installation. With the platform completely installed, the hookup phase began, followed by the commissioning of the plant. For Saipem, this project is an important result, also in the light of the important records achieved. By no means last was the success achieved when it came to safety, exceeding 1 million continual man-hours of work without a single lost time incident. Saipem is now ready for a new challenge.